So for this week, we have a special question from a special person, one of our friends. His name is Nishan, and Nishan wants to know, Backner, how to deal with uncertainty. So that will be our topic for today. So let's hop into a duel and discuss how to deal with uncertainty.
Alrighty.
So how to deal with uncertainty. Alright, where are we going to land first?
Wherever you want, bro.
Let's just land here at the crates. Oops, not crates. Okay. How to deal with uncertainty. And I want to, before we actually move on and talk about the discussion, I want to preface something real quick.
Sure.
So basically, all of these questions, I feel like one can really just Google and find answers to, and you could probably do your own research on the questions themselves. But I think what's cool about what we're doing, or what people watch podcasts for, or things of this nature, is really to hear about the other person's experience or perspectives on it. So obviously, if you Google this question, how to deal with uncertainty, you'll probably find way more than we talk about. But what we can offer is our perspective and our experiences, which I think is special. That's what I wanted to say.
Yeah, I like that. I agree 100%.
Yeah, because for our past few videos, all these things you can just look up, and you'll probably find a much more thorough answer than ours. But what we can offer is just our perspective and what we think about the topic,
right,
through our own experiences. Okay, so let's begin. How to deal with uncertainty. I think what we do with every topic that we have to define a few terms, because if you don't define it, you don't
break
know
it down
what
a bit.
means. Exactly. So the main word here is uncertainty, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what is uncertainty? I mean, uncertainty is basically a state of unpredictability, or a state of unclear, or a state of the unknown.
Right.
And so when you hear this, it usually comes with a negative connotation. The unknown, when you're uncertain about something, it usually triggers some feeling of fear, anxiety, right?
Right.
And so I think it's really important to understand where uncertainty, to begin with, where it stems from. Because if you don't know where it stems from, you can't fix it or deal with it in our case.
Okay. Actually, do you mind if I cut you off there?
Yeah, go ahead.
So
I was just getting a thoughts.
Yeah, I have a slightly different definition of uncertainty, and
Okay.
and I got this definition from my coursework in college. And for those that don't know, I studied the IT space of business and analytics, and in that space you deal with a lot of uncertainty, because there's a lot of things, a lot of variables you just can't know. And for those that went to the same university as me, you know what class I'm talking about. You know Eckstein, and you know what class I'm talking about exactly. The class is called Business Decision Analytics Under Uncertainty, and the class is all about what do you do, how do you make a decision when you don't know everything. And basically what that means is all the variables are combinations of probability. Everything has a certain chance of happening, and
Yep.
And this is things like weather. What's the chance of it raining today? What are the chances of, a response going a certain way? You ask someone a question, what are the chances that they might say this? And you can try and practice so many different methods of determining the number, whether it's based on history, based on, whatever method you want to use to determine an appropriate number to associate to the probability of an outcome happening. And what it does is helps you make decisions along the way. So ultimately, you want to make the optimal decision. You want to get the maximum return in the quickest way. So you take all of the uncertainty, and I'm this is me just talking about my course, and when I think about this is what I think about. So that's how I would define uncertainty. Just a bunch of probability.
Exactly. So that was actually one of the points I was going to mention maybe later on, but it's good that you brought it up because I think a way to, I guess, measure uncertainty is through like a probability lens, like the chance of something happening. I think that's
Right.
like a way we can measure uncertainty. But I think back to what I was saying, usually it comes with like a negative connotation because it triggers a feeling of fear or anxiety. So my question to get the conversation rolling is, can uncertainty have a positive element to it? Can it be positive? What do you think?
Yeah. So because it's probability, then there's a chance of, it's not just a chance of things happening, but like some outcomes are more desirable than others. Of course. Hold on. All right, some guys over there.
Where? I'm coming to you.
I think he's sniping me. I don't have a sniper. Let's just get into this circle.
Okay, we'll go around.
Yeah, they're gonna push right now. I like the question, but let's throw it into an example, just so it's a little clearer.
Throw it into an example.
So, you know, a desirable outcome based on uncertainty. And
yeah, so can something which you don't know the future to or can't see be something positive?
yeah, and
Positive
you know, a big example that I'll give is winning the lottery.
Yep.
So much uncertainty. It's you know, should be random, should be
Like
equal
the chance
chances.
of you winning is very low, but it can happen.
That's a
And when
very
it does, it's definitely positive.
that's a nice outcome, depending on the lottery of the ticket that you win.
Exactly.
All right, those guys are gonna be pushing up on us here to
Let's
get
go
into
into
this.
Dusty. Let's go into Dusty.
You don't want to catch them? They're about to run up over here.
Are they really? All right, let's go.
I mean, they have to. They get in the
I thought they were
circle.
far.
Nah, they're in retail. I was lasering him.
Cool. I think to add on to that, I think the way it can be positive, I feel like it's just like a mindset thing. It's like the optimism versus can't say that word.
Pessimism.
Pessimism. Yeah. I think to deal with uncertainty, I think it's just a mindset. Like very generally speaking, I'll definitely go into more of what I think. I think it's a mindset thing. So just keep that in mind for now.
Okay, I'll keep it in mind. Also, they have a sniper, so and your current spot is good.
I definitely don't have a sniper.
Where'd they go?
Did they
There's two.
die?
No way. It looked like they were in a battle, but it looked like they won.
They might be coming from our left or right.
Let's see him.
We'll wait out for another like 10 seconds. Might be coming in from the storm.
They probably went around too. Probably entered like way in the south.
Okay, should we just go?
Yeah, let's just go.
Let's go into Dusty. Was I touching on where uncertainty comes from?
Yeah,
Or?
but I cut you off. Sorry about that.
Okay, great. Because that was like my second point. So to really understand what uncertainty is, or what this unclear, vague state of mind is, I think what we have to first understand is where it comes from. And I think very simply put, it comes from changes in your life. That's where uncertainty comes from, because you don't know what's going to happen because of the change that is happening in your life.
Right.
So, I guess
someone's pushing up on us.
I see him. I think the more... Let's fight. We'll hold that. Oh, I don't have mats. Oh my god. I'm dead. I don't have mats.
All right, let me try to get us out of this pickle.
Yeah. Shoot him.
Shoot the gun! Oh my goodness. He wouldn't shoot the gun. Oh my goodness. So I think life is full of uncertainties, and the way we respond to them, it's the uncertainties I think can be labeled also as forms of adversity, where we said earlier that it's about probability. So let's say, and I like to put things in examples to fully understand them.
Yeah.
And I'll use myself as an example. I'll give 2 examples of myself of uncertainty. So
Yeah, well, we could both give examples. I think that's a good way to explain it.
yeah, we'll make it a little personal. So growing up in a lower middle class financial household with immigrant parents, when I was growing up, when I was maybe before 17, 18 years old, I never really thought about the future. That was always a blur for me. It was always focusing on what was presented to me in the moment. And I was never really a forward-thinking person. And that uncertainty for me helped build character. And that's what I think is the beauty and how to manage uncertainty. It's use it as something that's going to help you, and use it as something that's going to help you better understand who you are, because we are not defined by the adversities that we face. We are defined by the ways in which we respond to the adversities. So I could share a very sad sob story, and you'd be like, wow, Backner, like that's so sad. But the real question is, what did you do in response? You might have seen really unpleasant things, but how did you respond to them? How did you manage that unpleasant outcome? And I think those are the things that define character. And when we're managing uncertainty, when you're managing these spaces where you can't really control things, because I can't go back and say, okay, I'm going to be born to college educated American parents, born and raised in America. Even if I could do that, I wouldn't do it, because I know that all that uncertainty that I had, all of the frustration that I thought I had, it built character. Excuse me. So to answer the question of how to manage uncertainty, what to do when you're presented with uncertain situations, it's see it as an opportunity.
Or change or adversity.
Yeah, change, adversity, and these are all related here. See it as an opportunity to grow as an individual, to learn something new about the world, about yourself. And that way you'll turn out stronger, and you'll thank yourself for it.
Mm-hmm. And this is what I was saying back in a few games ago, of what I meant by it's a mindset thing.
Yeah.
So now the question is how to deal with change and adversity, because that's exactly how or what uncertainty stems from. So it's a mindset thing, like Backner says, how you deal with the adversity that really defines your character.
It's not how it's not how bad you've had things, because everyone goes through adversity, and different kinds of adversity. Some people have it a lot worse than others. But how do you respond to it?
Get in this car, let's go. Oh, go ahead, sorry to cut you off.
No, it's cool. How you respond to adversity is what should be the defining factor for character.
Totally agree with that.
So that's one example of my upbringing playing a role. Oh my goodness, we have to travel so far.
Yeah.
What happened to the shopping cart?
It's right there. I mean, we don't have to use it. If you want to use it, we can. You want to drive?
Yeah, I'll drive.
Okay.
It's probably better if I drive.
Probably. I ain't gonna lie. Okay. So Are you gonna give a second example, or can I add something real quick?
I'll give the second example later. You can go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. So I think when tackling that question of how to deal with change or adversity, there's two main ways you can really do it. You can, so if something, say for example, actually let me explain with an example. It won't actually be short, so if you want to go first, you can go first.
No, go ahead.
Okay, so I guess I'll give a personal example, and one that's very new, I guess. So right after college, I accepted a full-time job in a different state. I'm actually going to be moving to Texas.
From where?
From New Jersey, where we are right now. I'm going to be moving in less than 2 weeks, which is crazy. So right away, you can tell. Oh shoot! I put a C4 down by accident. So right away, it's very apparent that I'm uncertain about what's going to take place in the future. And quite frankly, sometimes it's very stressful knowing that, or not knowing what's going to happen in the future, because I really can't predict what's going to happen when I start a brand new job in a different state. And I've never been that far away from home, or even lived by myself that far away from my parents and family and friends. So right away, that's something that's unpredictable. I don't know what's going to happen. And I want to give this example because this is a huge change, and will be a huge change in my life. And there's basically two ways that I can really face this change. One is to dread it and tell myself that things might not work out and be pessimistic about it. And it's a natural fear. It's a natural feeling because you don't know what's going to happen. It's unclear. Like, maybe the worst things can happen. And it's safe to assume that because, for my example, I've never lived far away from, like I said, my family, friends, and my close ones. So I've never had that experience, and I don't know what it feels like. So that's why... Oh. Hold on. We're shooting. So that's why those feelings of uncertainty comes into play. Or that's how it comes into play. It's really tough focusing on off at the same time.
Yeah.
This is like the worst part of this. So yeah, like I was saying, there's two ways to mainly deal with it. I can dread it and be fearful of it, or what I think is the best way to deal with uncertainty is to embrace the change and to really think positively and optimistically about the change that's going to be happening in your life. Because like you said, we all go through changes, and the most important thing is to be positive about it and really be optimistic about where life is going to take you. Because if you know exactly what life will bring to you, there's kind of no fun in that, in my opinion. You might want to know your future. You might want to know exactly what's going to happen. But for me, a little bit of uncertainty is good. And I think it's very apparent to me now, because I'm going to be moving in a week or two. So this is very new to me and very relevant right now, because I will be going through a lot of changes in my life. If I'm sick, I'm gonna have to go to the doctors by myself and pay my own bills and be in my own apartment, everything like that, some adulting stuff, you know. And I've never had to experience that without like having family by my side. So to summarize really quick, I think it's just
Oh my god.
how you deal with the adversity and the change. And there's two ways. You can let the feelings of fear and anxiety kick in, or you can embrace it and think positively to deal with the uncertainty that comes with your life. That's it.
I agree, and thanks for sharing that.
Yeah. Of course.
I think that, you know,
Oh my god, I died.
life is really about how you respond to things.
It really is.
Wait, where are you? You're toast.
Yeah, I'm good. It's fine. And just one more little point I wanna bring up. Oh my god. Let's just watch it to the end.
Okay, yeah. One more thing you want to bring up?
Play. Yeah, just one more thing
Josh.
I want to bring up. Yeah, let's just watch Josh. Thing I want to bring up is that many times when we think of uncertainty, we like to seek for outside sources to help us. But I think what we really need to realize is that we have to look within ourselves and understand that's where the tools lie to deal with uncertainty. It really comes from your mindset. That's what I was saying before. It's how you approach these changes and adversity that's happening in your life. So yeah, I guess in a nutshell, that's how I would answer the question of how to deal with uncertainty.
I like that. I like that. And we all pick, you know. Sometimes I think we have to present ourselves with the opportunity for some change, for some challenges, and not hope, but you know, look forward to it being something that helps us progress in our personal objectives as well as things that we think we want to explore in an effort to help us be better people. Come on, Josh. Nice kill, Josh. Oh, he really didn't have to do that. He stretched it.
I'm watching other people now too. I'm just going through.
Josh is the man. He has 6 people watching him.
Let's go, Josh.
Josh M.
But yeah, I think this is a really good question because everyone goes through changes and everyone has a choice of how they want to respond to uncertainty.
Yeah.
Because it happens to everyone, no matter like how small the situation is. Change is inevitable. It's going to happen. Because if we can all predict the future, we would all be billionaires.
Hey, we won.
Hey, we won! Victory Royale!
Alright, head back to the loading screen.
Backner, I know you wanted to say something before, so you want to say your point and then we can wrap it up?
Sure. So, I was gonna say that because we were on the topic of discussing things that we can't really control, and I wanted to talk about things in life that like are really outside of our control, and that uncertainty can really play a big role in people's lives. And my example here is a death in a family. Someone that either you're really, really close to, or you just highly respect in your family, or someone just could just be a loved one. It doesn't have to be someone that's related to you by blood. And you know, those are areas of uncertainty because you don't know what happens next. You know, you don't know where they are. You don't know what they're thinking, if they're thinking anything. So many questions that probably can be answered, but so differently by different religions and different faiths. Different practices will say different things about what happens after death. And as someone who just experienced death in the family, I think that what's really the character building piece is how death helps us appreciate life, and how it helps us realize that everything that we do, it actually is for a purpose. And I say that all the time, but like I actually realized this a little bit more through this experience, because when you reflect on the person's life that passed away, and you ask yourself, why did they do the things that they do? And they may not have been thinking about the legacy that they left behind, but we all do it inevitably. We all leave a story about ourselves, stories that others will tell about ourselves. We all do this subconsciously. And when you think about those stories that they're leaving behind, it makes us ask the question, or at least it made me ask the question, and something I keep asking myself is, what story am I leaving behind? For me, it's very impactful because of the family that I come from, and the type of work that my family did for me to be where I am now, and it helps me stay a little humble. And instead of beating myself up over it, instead of being angry or upset, what I feel instead is a high sense of motivation. What I feel is this urge, this high sense of urgency to do more, and to think about that story that I'm creating for myself. Because not only will I tell it, either to my kids, my grandkids, if I'm fortunate enough to have any, but those that I get close to, those that I become friends with, and I'm fortunate enough to experience things with, what will they say? It's not so much about caring about the opinions of others, but shaping yourself and creating that brand for yourself, so that when you do reach that point of no longer living, if it exists, right, on Earth, I guess, what do you look back on? So in areas like that of uncertainty, it kind of ties back to, well, it directly ties back to trying to make everything a character building experience, and looking for ways to better yourself through this uncertainty, through the probability, and breaking those numbers down and asking yourself some questions that start with why. That was the example that I wanted to give, and the point that I wanted to make about the next piece of uncertainty.
Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah, no problem.
You want to wrap up? Want to summarize?
Yeah, so happy to summarize.
Do it.
So as we usually do, we broke down the question that we were fortunate enough to be asked by one of our supporters, and the question was how to handle uncertainty. So we decided to break it down a little bit and understand what does uncertainty mean, and we tied it into change, because uncertainty, and not just in a social sense, but in a mathematical sense, probability sense, it's all numbers. Uncertainty, there's a probability of something happening, and the way that you get to that number, it's there's so many ways to do that, but you figure out that there is a chance that it won't happen, there's a chance that it will happen, and all you can do is try to prepare as much as you can to help you make decisions when you need to make those decisions in the face of uncertainty. And that's the handling part. How do we respond to those changes in our lives? How do we respond to those areas where we don't know what the outcome is going to be, and we have an idea, and sometimes the negative outcome is a little more likely than the positive outcome, and that's the case for a lot of people. So we started off speaking about that, and then we just jumped into examples of how we can master the practice of bettering ourselves through this kind of adversity, through uncertainty, and asking the right questions when we're presented with those opportunities. Instead of beating ourselves up over things, instead of getting so scared, to get excited instead, to get excited for what's to come. And that uncertainty is going to open up so many doors of perspective. It's going to open up this gate, not just doors, just this gateway, a huge golden gate of things that you don't even know what's on the other side. So putting ourselves in a situation to grow from the things that we're not sure about, It's a very nice thing. And you know what? I'll admit right now, like this conversation is very helpful for me because of the example I shared, and to help me better understand and put into words what I've been trying to think, what I've been trying to use as fuel for myself, because it's so easy to get lost. You know, it's so easy to get lost when you're not sure about what's coming next and what you're supposed to be doing. But if you ask yourself a couple questions, and I think the biggest thing is talking to other people, not just talking to yourself, but having someone that you trust and is willing to support and challenge you, to ask you questions and to give you feedback, it's unmatched. It's unmatched. So in the face of uncertainty, in the face of that adversity, we broke it down into doing a few simple things, and the first is see it as a character building opportunity. Second is be optimistic as possible. And third is, I'm going to throw this in here, share it with other people and try to gain that support and challenge from as many people as you can, especially those that you're really close to. Anything you want to add?
I couldn't have said it better myself. That was perfect.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's how to deal with uncertainty from our perspectives and our experiences.
Bet. Thanks for the question, Nishan.
Yeah, thanks for the question, Ashan. It was a great one.